Cheers. We are watching the Cornetto Trilogy. It's just iced tea, I swear. Um, those of you who don't know, Cornetto Trilogy is it's also called Blood and Ice Cream Trilogy, but Cornetto. So we got Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and World's End. So the first entry is Shaun of the Dead, which we watched with the commentary track, which featured Simon Pegg, Shaun himself, and the director Edgar Wright. They both co-wrote the movie. It seemed like Simon Pegg was trying to make Edgar Wright crack up the whole time on the commentary. This movie is a masterpiece. If you haven't watched it, definitely highly recommend. There is so much foreshadowing and symmetry, which many filmmakers don't even attempt, and it's one of Edgar Wright's first films. I think it was his first film. He did a lot of TV. Where am I? The kid who plays the teenage coworker is named Rafe Spall. He's the son of Timothy Spall, who you Potterheads will know as Wormtail, right? Kid lucked out on the genetics lottery there. A lot of the zombie extras were fans of the show Spaced, which was actually Edgar Wright worked on it, as well as Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. So, they had back at the time, they had put up on a forum that they needed extras, and kind of in a nod to the original Night of the Living Dead, they were only paid a pound. Night of the Living Dead, they were paid $1. The zombies for that one, so nice little bit of silliness. There is a little bit of CGI, but it's used sparingly, and only when things really couldn't be done by traditional effects. As a result, the effects stand up quite well, and one of them is when Shaun gets a dart in his head. The effect is the CGI little blood splatter when he pulls it out, you wouldn't really notice it or think anything of it because it's so quick and brief. Next we watched Shaun of the Dead again, with the cast commentary. There were 2 different commentary tracks. I just love this movie. Honestly, I could watch it on a loop. The cast commentary was not as informative and was really quite chaotic. You couldn't always tell who was talking. And Dylan Moran, he's not even on the box. He's the Irish guy. He was particularly uninformative and seemed to derail anyone attempting to be informative. One thing that's weird, the commentary tracks on this are in the language section, which is unusual, not in special features. And by the way, this movie's Cornetto flavor is strawberry, which is supposed to denote all the blood in the film. And then next we actually watched a different film. We watched Hot Fuzz. Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright again. This time the commentary was in the special features where it belongs. Apparently Cate Blanchett appears in a cameo as Simon Pegg's girlfriend. She's working at a murder scene and is completely covered except for her eyes. She has a mask and not quite a hazmat suit, but you know those things. And she was uncredited, and she just wanted to be in the film. You might recognize the preacher in this. His name is Paul Freeman. He was also in Raiders of the Lost Ark as Belloc Indiana Jones's rival. Timothy Dalton also appears as the grocery store manager. Where am I? And of course, you'll recognize the grocery shop worker. I did not look up his name, but it's the Hound from Game of Thrones. In this movie, he says Yarp. I forgot to look up his real name. I'm sorry. And of course, the late great Edward Woodward is the neighborhood watchman guy who watches all the screens. It's kind of an inside joke, as he was the star of the original Wicker Man, which has basically the same plot as this film. The town in the movie was that it was filmed in was called Wells. It's the hometown of Edgar Wright, which is kind of funny. I also learned from the commentary that Edgar Wright once worked at a grocery store and at another time as a projectionist. It just seems so rare to have filmmakers who've worked real jobs and not only attended film school. And this one features original flavored Cornetto, which had a blue wrapper, which was supposed to denote the police because they're police officers. And then we have The World's End, which again we watched with the commentary on, and again it was Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg. The movie had Pierce Brosnan in it as like their old teacher, so got 2 James Bonds in the trilogy. It's kind of cool. The Crow who played Bloody Mary, the zombie they found in the backyard of the first movie, appears in like a counseling session right at the beginning, which is pretty cool. Also, like the hulking zombie who was in that same zine where they like threw records at his head in Shaun of the Dead. Yeah, in Shaun of the Dead, he's in this as like one of the villagers. So keep your eye out for those really obscure cameos. This movie has great foreshadowing as well, and a lot of like repeated or echoed scenes. But I do love Shaun of the Dead a little bit more. The final pub that Simon Pegg visits is called the Rising Sun, which is just a great name, obviously. But in the film, it kind of symbolizes a new dawn for humanity. Alright. Oh, and that one's film, a Cornetto flavor is mint, which sadly didn't get eaten. The wrapper just blows away as kind of a reminder of what has been lost to humanity. But I don't know why it's green, necessarily, or mint. And that brings us to the end of the Cornetto Trilogy. However, we did watch an honorary entry, in my opinion. Paul! How cool is this box? The commentary featured Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, the director, who is not Edgar Wright, and it did feature Nira Park, who actually produced all these films, although she really didn't talk a whole lot. But it was originally supposed to be directed by Edgar Wright. It actually would have come right after Hot Fuzz. He was off directing Scott Pilgrim, so I mean Scott Pilgrim's amazing too. We were that close to getting a Cornetto quadrilogy. I don't know how many Cornetto flavors there are out there. Surely it could have been another one. One of the early shots includes Comic-Con. It's not the real Comic-Con, but sadly Comic-Con was canceled, so if you want to pretend like you're at the convention, here you go. Jane Lynch has a very small part in this, as a diner waitress, and she's just so warm and understanding to these traveling nerds, not condescending. It's wholesome. Um, but yeah, and of course Seth Rogen as Paul himself. Um, yeah, I recommend this one as well. But yeah, if you're feeling like a little bit of a trip to England, there you go. I recommend all these films. And cheers, and let's wait for all this to blow over.